Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Attorney Christian Monsod, Congressman Egay Irice, former Congressman Erin Tanyada, General Joe Almonte, Miss Raisa Robles. I haven't seen Dean Orville Salon. Is he here? Dean Orville Salon, my Econ 131 teacher. Ano yun, more than 31 years ago. The faculty, staff, and alumni of the University of the Philippines, hindi lang siya limited to the School of Econ, of UP. Fellow workers in government, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. It has been 31 years since our people took to the streets in peaceful revolt. I still remember those days. I was a shy and impressionable provinciana. And my time as a university student here at the School of Econ was of self-discovery and a growing awareness of the problems of our country. After all, one of UP's strengths is the way it exposes us to the realities of the world, of the social and political issues that shape those realities. In those final years of the Marcos dictatorship, all was not well. Resistance against martial law was gaining momentum. The people had awakened to the wholesale plunder and human rights abuses of the Marcos family, and they were ready to fight back. Our economics professors then wrote a white paper on our country's economic troubles. It was a bold and fearless document, debunking the lies that the Marcoses had peddled on the state of our economy. If I'm not mistaken, that was in 1984, a year after the death of Ninoy Aquino. You see, for a long time, Marcos claimed that the Philippine economy was in good shape. But that white paper showed us that this was far from the truth. Inflation had spiked up to double digits, and the prices of consumer goods were extremely high. Marcos borrowed huge sums domestically and overseas, but we found that the borrowings did not go to public infrastructure. Instead, that white paper showed, factually and without any doubt, that the funds were funneled away into the Marcos ambitions of wealth, state control, and total power. Before martial law, our economy was second only to Japan. After Marcos' rule, it languished and never really recovered to the level that it was before. As we know now, the assassination of Ninoy Aquino catalyzed the people power revolution. Enough was enough, the people said. For 3 days in February 1986, thousands peacefully marched to EDSA despite the risks. Military tanks stood at attention, and soldiers held their rifles ready. But they could not stop us. We wanted a government that would take care of its people, not destroy them. We wanted our freedoms restored under a democracy that was rightfully ours. We wanted change, and we rose together to make that change possible. Those days marked the culmination of decades of struggle against the rule of one man. Exactly 31 years since we got our freedom back, our fragile democracy has yet to get to its feet. We see a re-emergence of Marcos heirs, who today still try to convince our young that the sins of the past do not matter. They seek to revise our history, using money stolen from millions of taxpayers' wallets, from your parents' savings meant for you. Filipinos are too quick to forget, too easy to forgive. How else can a former dictator, whose reign was defined by grave abuses, be given a hero's burial? How else to explain their family's stubborn grip on power? How else to make sense of the desire to be ruled by another iron hand? Is it really much better to be ruled by a tyrant only because the Filipino people lack discipline? How else have we forgotten the scores of lives lost because of the abuse of a dictator in the not-so-distant past? Some leaders would like us to forget the atrocities of martial law. Some leaders are only too happy to glorify the dictatorship of Marcos, to revise history so that he is remembered a hero and not the thief and murderer that he was. Some leaders want to raise the fist of authoritarianism, to sow fear and discord among ourselves, to divide us with lies, violence, and bloodshed. It has begun. In a surprise move, a warrant of arrest was issued against Senator Laila de Lima yesterday, even after agreement has already been made for her to surrender herself to the police this morning. Was she to be taken under cover of darkness? And to what end and why the rush? We do not know. The brave senator who dared begin a probe on the president's drug war prepared herself and said she will continue the fight. So this morning, the nation woke up to a worrying scene. A senator and a staunch critic of the president was escorted into police custody. The message was loud and clear. Anyone who dares speak dissent is not safe. Our history as a nation is marred by instances where government officials use the processes of criminal justice to cow, silence, and eliminate critics. We cannot and we must not stand by and let this happen again. We must make sure that our government institutions remain uncorrupted and independent of each other, particularly when it comes to checks and balances in pursuit of accountability. We believe that those who are accused of any crime must have their day in court and has the right to a fair and unbiased trial. We exhort the people to follow and scrutinize this case religiously. Let us fight the right to speak dissent, which is the foundation of our strength as a free and democratic nation. We hear the grumblings of some Filipinos. Democracy has failed because it hasn't solved poverty. Is that really true? Or is it us who have failed democracy? Perhaps it is time for us to look at what we have contributed to democracy instead of the other way around. Perhaps it is us who need to remember the lives lost and the sacrifices made so that our society today will be free and enjoy the liberties we take for granted. The strength of democracy at its core is the ability of each one of us to be part of nation building. Do we keep our faith in our individual goodness, or should we opt to know or follow larger-than-life, self-proclaimed saviors who promise to remove our suffering in 6 months? No, we do not need false prophets of change who claim that they are the people's last hope. The change that we so desire begins with us, in the way we live our lives, in the way we protect our rights and liberties that EDSA restored, in the way we continue the unfinished work of the revolution. Is it time to junk the 1987 Constitution and replace our system of government? We can't and we must not. EDSA was exactly what we needed, not just because its impact rang far beyond our shores, not only because it conquered a greedy and brutal dictator. The real success of EDSA was that it proved that the power of the people, that when our citizens come together in courage and in hope, we can be the change that we aspire for our country. And therein lies the problem. After we reclaimed our democracy in 1986, our contributions ended. We started looking for saviors to save us again. We forgot that the Constitution and our democracy's real foot soldiers are the people themselves. For us who are now in positions of leadership, whether as representatives of the Filipino youth, as politicians, or movers in civil society, the challenge of our time is to counter the cynicism that has marked public discourse. These days, what is dominant is the rhetoric of fear and doom. The public is made to believe that the Philippines is in complete dysfunction and that only the most bloody measures can cure our country of its ills. We are made to believe that those who protest and oppose are traitors to the nation and its people. So as we celebrate the anniversary of EDSA Revolution, we are called upon to reject these lies. Not all is lost in the Philippines. The People Power Revolution asks us to remember that there is cause for hope. I myself have seen these reasons every day in the work that I do. I see reason of hope in the men and women who continue to fight for justice and equality in this country. I see that there is reason for hope in the faces of even the poorest Filipinos, whose dreams for a better life persist despite the odds. Our country cannot afford to be derailed by political noise. While we bicker and fight, 95 children die of hunger every day. Our people need jobs to feed their family with nutritious food. Our farmers and fisherfolk need help in protecting their sources of livelihood. More than 5 million families lack decent dwellings and are living in danger zones or deplorable conditions. Our business sector deserves a level playing field and lower costs and higher efficiency in doing business. Poverty is the real problem, but we are distracted by political agenda and division. So, Mr. President, we call you to task. In behalf of the Filipino people, whose daily struggles are escalating, we ask you to focus on the war that really matters, the war on poverty. Our people are hungry, jobless, and poor. Please use your leadership to direct our nation towards respect for the law instead of blatant disregard for it. We ask you to uphold basic human rights enshrined in the Constitution instead of encouraging its abuse. Be the leader you promised to be, and evoke in us hope and inspiration instead of fear. Do not allow lies to distort the truth. And to each one of us, the Filipino people, let us continue to defy these brazen incursions in our rights. We have fought so hard and so long for our freedoms. We have come so far since our country's darkest days. Never forget that liberty rightfully belongs to our nation and our people. Never forget that together we can make a stand for every Filipino who suffers injustice, for those who have been betrayed and neglected, and for those who continue to aspire for progress in our country. Never forget. Thank you very much. Mabuhay ang ating demokrasya.